Welcome to the Disney Wedding Podcast. This show is brought to you by Carrie Hayward's Fairytale Weddings Guide, the only guidebook and bridal organizer tailored exclusively to Disney's fairytale weddings at Walt Disney World. I'm Carrie Hayward, and each week I feature Disney wedding updates, money-saving tips, and interviews with wedding vendors and real Disney couples. I also cover honeymoons, anniversaries, and engagements at the Disney parks and resorts. Join me now as the Disney Wedding Podcast celebrates romance at Disney destinations. Today on the Disney Wedding Podcast, I am speaking with Brianna Laing about her ceremony at Seabreeze Point with a celebration at the Attic and a dessert party at UK Lochside. I thought you guys would be interested to hear how she chose these locations and how she planned everything and how it all turned out. So welcome, Brianna.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks so much for being on the show today. I always like to start at the very beginning and find out how you and your fiancé decided that you wanted to have your wedding at Disney.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a journey. So Jake isn't the biggest Disney fan. He had never been to Disney until we started dating. So initially when we got engaged, we weren't really planning on having a wedding right away. I was in school and, we just didn't really want to put any pressure on that. But I had always had it in the back of my mind that I kind of wanted to get married at Disney. I grew up going to Disney. I always had the best times there with my family. So I ended up just kind of downloading your book and I was reading all about that and all the different venues and listening to your podcast at the same time. And then once we kind of were more serious about the wedding conversation, we didn't really know what we wanted to do. We did know that we didn't really want to have a big wedding, and then we don't really like being the center of attention. So we didn't know if we just wanted to be our families present, and we knew we definitely didn't want to have any dancing, so not a formal reception. And we kind of were just snowballing on what to do. We had come up with a couple of different ideas, and then finally this past June, Jake kind of gave me the green light to message Disney and kind of see what we could do there. So from there, we kind of decided to have the Disney wedding.
That's wonderful. How did your friends and family react when they found out where the wedding was going to be?
My family and my friends weren't surprised at all, and they were, really happy, and they were pushing for the Disney wedding the whole time. His family and friends were definitely more surprised because he's not a big Disney guy, but all in all, everyone was really excited for the wedding and the chance to go to Disney.
That's great. How many guests did you invite, and how many were able to make the trip?
We invited 45 and 36 guests ended up attending.
Great. Did you guys set up a room block for your guests?
Yeah, we did. We had 3 hotels in it. We did the Beach Club, the Caribbean Beach Resort, and then Pop Century. We kind of wanted all of the hotels we picked to be accessible with Disney transportation to our location. Our ceremony was at Seabreeze Point. So, we had the Skyliner, and I think that really the guests who chose to stay in the Caribbean Beach and the Pop Century really liked having that access to the BoardWalk with the Skyliner.
Right, yeah, definitely. How did you guys choose the day of the week and time of day for your event?
My work schedule wasn't that flexible with, the PTO I could take off. So I kind of wanted to pick a day of the week where after we got married, we'd have some time to enjoy before I had to go back to work. So we kind of just ended up picking the middle. So we went with Wednesday, and then it definitely helps that with certain days of the week, especially weekdays, you can have, cheaper prices for the wedding.
Right, yes. How'd you pick the time of day?
So for the time of day, I wanted to do the afternoon. I knew that we wanted to have a dessert party, so I kind of just wanted to space everything nice where there seemed like there was a good flow through the day and there wasn't really large gaps between any of the wedding events.
Got it. Now, how did you choose your ceremony and reception venues?
So we always have really liked the BoardWalk area. And whenever you're walking around there, you can't miss Seabreeze Point. It's just such a beautiful outdoor location. So when we were planning, we kind of just saw pictures of Seabreeze Point and knew that we wanted to have it there. And for the celebration that we had after, I actually saw a couple of different couples having their celebration or reception at the attic, which is another space in the boardwalk. I heard about the attic on your podcast and also saw pictures of the attic on your website. And I never visited that space prior to having the celebration there, but I just kind of fell in love with it, and all the pictures and all the couples who talked about it just talked about how it's such a great space. So we kind of just chose the attic from that.
Wonderful. Did you use any outside vendors for the portions of your event where you were able to?
Yes. So for photography, we used Bella Gray Studios. And then for videography, we used Regina Hyman, and we had Michael and Ray. For hair and makeup, we had Stacy Otto, and then she brought a couple other of makeup artists with her. So we had Jen, Nikki, and Lulu. And I think that's it for our outside vendors.
Got it. How did you guys choose your officiant?
After we had connected with Disney, they kind of send an approved vendor list. So I was looking through that, and I was just going through all their websites, and then I came across Renee Silverman's site, A Lovely Ceremony. And one of the things that I saw on her website was that she offered hand fasting, which Jake and I knew that we wanted to incorporate that and have that as part of our ceremony. So we kind of picked her because at that time I hadn't come across anyone else who was offering the hand fasting, and that's something that we knew we wanted in our ceremony.
That's great. Did you guys add any kind of entertainment to the ceremony or the reception?
So at the celebration, we had the violinist come from our ceremony. The main purpose for having our violinist there was for the father-daughter dance. And then he ended up staying for the first hour and would play music, which was really nice. And I think our guests definitely enjoyed having him there.
That's great. Did Disney charge you a separate fee to have him come to the celebration?
Yeah, so Disney did charge us a separate fee for that.
Got it. Okay. Do you have any menu items or cake flavors that you would recommend?
Yes, I definitely have a lot of them. So I kind of break it up as in like for our different events. So for the welcome party, everyone was raving about the mac and cheese that we had, and then the fried chicken sliders. At the celebration, people really liked the pork pot stickers and then the Ohana inspired noodles that we had. And then we did do a specialty cocktail, and everyone said it was so good. It was the Tropical Sunset, and that kind of comes off of a pre-selected cocktail selection that Disney also provides you. And that drink, it was rum, passion fruit, orange, and guava juice, and everyone really loved that. And then the dessert party, we had so many things to choose from, so it's kind of hard to narrow it down. But everyone loved the buffalo chicken spring rolls. And then we did French toast bread pudding, a fresh popcorn cart, and people really liked having the novelty Mickey ice cream bars too.
Sounds great. How did you guys decide to have your dessert party in Epcot at UK Lochside?
We decided on having the dessert party in Epcot because it made sense with where we were having our ceremony and then the celebration. So everything was kind of around the boardwalk, and then with Epcot being right there, it just made sense for our guests to be able to walk over to Epcot after the celebration. And yeah, I think that's it.
How did you choose UK Lochside?
We chose UK Lochside primarily from looking through your guide and just seeing what made sense with our guest count. And then we had visited it when we had just been to Epcot, and we really liked its location. It felt pretty private, and the space didn't feel too big, and it felt just kind of perfect for our group size.
Wonderful. Did you add a ride mix in after the fireworks?
Initially, we did have a ride mix in, so we were going to go with Soarin', but because of the 100th Disney celebration that's going on, the Soarin' around the world, it's Soarin' over California. And when we had gone to Epcot, we went on Soarin' over California, and we just didn't like it as much as Soarin' around the world. It was kind of a hard decision to let go of the ride mix-in, but when we were talking with the Disney wedding planners, we had to make the decision at the 30-day mark before our wedding, and they couldn't tell us if the Soarin' over California was going to be the version at that time. We just kind of had to decide, and I'm glad we did because it's still Soarin' over California.
Interesting. Okay. Can you tell my listeners a little bit about the welcome party that you planned for Seabreeze Point?
Yes. So initially, we had kind of wanted to do the welcome party at Animal Kingdom, but with that, we wanted to do the safari ride mix-in, but our wedding planners had said that wouldn't have worked out. So then we had to pivot from there and choose a new location. We ended up going with Seabreeze Point because I wanted the guest who had never been to Disney before to be comfortable knowing where the wedding was going to happen the next day, because, Disney is a big place and I didn't want them to feel overwhelmed. So we chose Seabreeze Point for that reason. And then on the day of our event, it was supposed to rain all day, and it did rain all day. So probably in the early afternoon, I got a call from Disney saying that they were going to move both our rehearsal and then our welcome party indoors. Initially, they had wanted to move us to the BoardWalk ballrooms, and that was what was in our BEO. But I kind of had a moment where I was thinking. I had a couple of guests that were in wheelchairs, and I knew they were staying at the beach club. So I just kind of thought it would be a lot for those guests to have to Uber over to the boardwalk, where if we had moved the party over to the yacht club convention center, they could just kind of walk there. So I had asked at the time if, it was possible for us to move from the boardwalk to the yacht club, and Disney made it happen.
That's wonderful. Can you give my listeners a timeline of how the wedding day ran?
Yes, so we started hair and makeup at 7:45. Jake didn't do any groomsmen, so he was kind of just alone in the morning with his father, and they just went to breakfast. And then hair and makeup was done at 11. Both the photographers and videographer got there at 11, and we started doing some in-room getting ready photos then. And then from there, we all got into our dresses, did some more bridesmaids photos. I did a first look with my dad. And then I think around 11:45 11:45, Jake and I did a first look. And then after that, we did all of our family portraits, which was nice because we got it out of the way before the ceremony. And then after that, we still had some time. So Jake and I did all of our couples photos. We started at the beach club, and we kind of made our way the long way around to Seabreeze Point. So we were taking some photos on the boardwalk. And then the actual ceremony was at 2:30, so we had to be there by 2:15-ish. And then the ceremony happened, and then our celebration, which was at the attic, was at 3:30. So Disney had the event guides meet us at Seabreeze Point. Everyone walked over to the attic as a group. And then that was a 2-hour celebration. So it ended around 5:30. And then we had a little break between needing to meet at Epcot International Gateway for the dessert party. So people kind of broke off in groups, but some people went to Martha's Vineyard, which is the lounge in the beach club. And then other people went back to their hotel rooms just to change because it was a little cold. So they just changed out of their dresses into warmer clothes for the dessert party. And then we met at International Gateway at 6:45. The dessert party started at 7:15 and it was over after the fireworks around 9:20. And then after that, everyone who wanted to go, we all went to Jelly Rolls.
Oh, fun. So you guys chose to do a bridal portrait session in Animal Kingdom after your wedding. Can you talk a little bit about how you chose that part? Because it seems like most of the time you see people do Magic Kingdom, and I'd be interested to know how you chose that and what it was like.
Yeah, so we chose Animal Kingdom because Animal Kingdom is our favorite park to visit. We definitely love going there and seeing all the animals, so it just feels like a special park to us. And then with Jake not being the biggest Disney fan, Magic Kingdom didn't really feel like us. I'm really happy that we chose Animal Kingdom. The preview photos that I got are amazing. I think more brides should definitely consider doing Animal Kingdom just because you get some amazing shots there. And the whole experience just felt really special because we were the only couple in the park that morning. So it was just a great experience. And I think it was fun for the Disney photographers as well because they even said they don't really get to come to Animal Kingdom that much to do the bridal park shoots.
Interesting. Okay. Now, when you were planning, what were some of the most important aspects of the wedding where you focused your attention or your budget?
So we definitely wanted to focus on guest experience, and I think we focused our energy more on the food. We wanted that part to be really special. And then I think we also probably focused more of our time on choosing our photographer and then our videographer.
Got it. Okay. Were there any aspects that were less important where you saved your money or just your effort?
Yeah, so we chose spaces where we didn't really think much decor was needed, and we kind of didn't do like any decorations. And then for floral, we did do floral, but we were very light on floral. So I think that's probably two areas where we didn't really spend much time paying attention to.
That's great. Out of all of this, what ended up being your favorite memory of your wedding day?
I think my favorite memory was walking into the ceremony. I didn't expect that to be my favorite part just because we don't really like being the center of attention. And we kept saying before the wedding, oh, like we just have to get through the ceremony and then it will be so much fun. Like we're going to be, celebrating with everyone. We kind of just wanted to rush through that part. But I think once I was walking down the aisle and I saw my friends and my family and I saw Jake, it just hit me that it was real. And that moment was very special.
That's wonderful. Did anything go wrong or just not turn out like you expected?
The only thing that I had noticed was at the dessert party for the bar, they just didn't have a list of what we had chosen for the specialty drink there. They did have a sign for our specialty drink at the celebration, just not at the dessert party. So people didn't really know that I chose a specialty drink for the dessert party, which ended up being fine because I just told everyone what it was. So people still got to order it, but that's the only small detail that I noticed.
That's great. Was there anything that seemed like a big deal beforehand or you were worried about, and then it turned out not to be a big deal?
Yeah, so I was definitely worried about the walking that was involved with our events, just because we had started at Seabreeze Point and then we had to walk all the way to the attic, which, if people don't know, it's kind of hard to get there, and you have to go in through the BoardWalk Hotel, and then it's all the way at the end. And then from there, we had to kind of make our way back to Epcot International Gateway. So I was worried that people would think it was kind of far or not wear the proper footwear, but it ended up being fine, and I didn't hear anyone complaining about that. And then I think I was also worried about just the flow of the day and feeling rushed, because we chose to do a celebration, which was only 2 hours instead of a full reception, but it didn't feel like it was rushed, and I think we definitely had enough time.
Oh, good. Okay. Is there anything you would have done differently knowing what you know now?
Yeah, so I think for the welcome party, I wish I had just thought about the logistics of getting everyone to like the backup location being at the BoardWalk, because that's what was in our BEO. So I wish I just had kind of thought about that to ask the planners ahead of time if it could just be at the Yacht Club Convention Center instead of having the backup location at the BoardWalk. So I think that's something just to think about, your backup locations. Obviously, you're not hoping to be in the backup location, but I think it would have just given me some peace of mind and not to think about it, day of when it's actually happening. And then I also kind of wish that I gave myself a little more time in the morning. So our hair and makeup did start at 7:45, and then we did have like an additional makeup artist come. So it would kind of help with the flow of the day. But we had ordered Chick-fil-A for breakfast, and they were a little late getting there. They were supposed to deliver the food at 7:30, and then they got there late. And I just don't know if I didn't realize that I would be getting my hair and makeup done the whole time. So I feel like I didn't really get to enjoy the breakfast because I was in the makeup chair the whole time. So maybe giving yourself a little buffer in the beginning of the day.
Oh, that's a great tip. Do you have any other tips or advice for future Disney couples?
Yes, so I can't recommend listening to the Disney Wedding podcast enough. You definitely get great ideas from previous couples. And then also reading your book, Carrie Hayward's Fairytale Wedding Guide. I think that guide saved me, and the budget information in there is very helpful and it's very accurate to what you're going to be spending. And then I also was a part of a couple of different Facebook groups online, and I think the people there are just another wealth of knowledge, and they have a lot of recommendations and tips for you.
That's great advice. Well, Brianna, I think you've offered a lot of great tips and advice for anyone who's interested in getting married at Walt Disney World, and I appreciate your taking the time.
Thank you so much.
That's our show for today. I'm your host, Carrie Hayward, inviting you to join me again next week for another episode of the Disney Wedding Podcast. Past shows and tons of photos for each episode are available on my website, DisneyWeddingPodcast.com, or listen in your favorite podcast app. And for instant answers to all your Walt Disney World wedding questions, check out Carrie Hayward's Fairytale Weddings Guide, available as an interactive ebook with continual free updates at fairytaleweddingsguide.com.